Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that can transform an ordinary penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure, and today we're diving deep into one of the most extraordinary and surprising stories in numismatic history, the 1983 Lincoln 1-cent coin that is believed to be worth as much as $9 million because of its extremely rare minting errors, unexpected composition anomalies, and mysterious origins that continue to baffle collectors, experts, and treasure hunters across the world. So stay tuned because this incredible coin story will change how you look at every penny in your pocket forever. The 1983 penny might look just like any other copper-colored cent you've seen thousands of times before, but beneath its simple appearance hides an incredible secret that has made it one of the most desirable coins in the modern era. To truly understand why a single 1983 1 cent can be valued at $9 million, we have to go back to a major change in U.S. coinage history that happened in 1982, when the U.S. Mint officially transitioned the penny's composition from 95% copper and 5% zinc to a cheaper and lighter core made of 97.5% zinc and a thin copper plating. This change was meant to save the government money as copper prices were rising, but during this transition, errors and mix-ups occurred at the mint, and some 1983 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982 instead of the new zinc ones. This is where the story of the 1983 penny becomes legendary, because any 1983 or 1983 cent made from the older copper alloy is technically not supposed to exist, and that's exactly what makes it so valuable. Collectors and metal experts discovered that while most 1983 pennies weigh about 2.5 grams due to their zinc composition, a few extremely rare examples weigh around 3.1 grams, which indicates a solid copper planchet, and that difference in weight is the key that unlocks its multi-million-dollar potential. But that's just one layer of the mystery. Some 1983 Lincoln cents not only have the wrong composition but also exhibit multiple striking errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and even lamination flaws, each adding even more to their rarity and overall worth. Imagine holding a small brown coin in your hand, the kind you might toss into a jar or use for change, and realizing that it's not just worth a few cents but potentially worth $9 million because it was struck during a chaotic minting period when precision gave way to production speed, and human or mechanical errors led to the birth of these numismatic miracles. The Denver Mint, where the mint mark represents its origin, was particularly busy during 1983, producing hundreds of millions of pennies, and in that high-volume production environment, the odds of a few leftover copper blanks slipping into the presses were small but very real, resulting in these unintentional masterpieces. When collectors began examining 1983 pennies closely, they found subtle but critical variations that set some apart from the rest, not only in weight and metal composition but also in die alignment, rim thickness, lettering sharpness, and even the clarity of Lincoln's portrait and the 1 cent reverse design featuring the Lincoln Memorial. Some examples show evidence of doubling on the date and lettering like Liberty and In God We Trust, which are classic indicators of a double die error, making the coin even more desirable to collectors and investors alike. It's the combination of such errors that propels the 1983 penny into astronomical price territory, and when a genuine copper 1983 cent with verified double die features and clear striking anomalies surfaces, it instantly becomes a sensation in the numismatic community. The fascination with this coin also lies in its elusive nature. There are only a handful of known genuine examples verified through professional grading services like PCGS and NGC, and each one carries not only monetary value but a story of how such a rare minting event escaped detection for decades. The intrigue deepens when metallurgical tests confirm the unexpected copper content, leaving no doubt that these are real, unintended survivors of an era when the mint was still perfecting its new production system. The sheer rarity, combined with the mystery of its accidental creation, drives collectors into fierce bidding wars whenever one appears for sale or auction, often pushing prices into the millions. The $9 million valuation might sound unbelievable for something so small, but it's a reflection of how rarity, history, and demand intersect in the coin world, especially when a coin represents a unique piece of mint history that should never have existed in the first place. Many numismatists compare the 1983 D copper penny to legendary coins like the 1943 bronze cent or the 1955 double-die penny, both of which have fetched massive prices due to their iconic error status. Yet the 1983 D stands apart because it belongs to a modern generation of coins where such errors were supposed to be impossible thanks to advanced technology and strict quality control, and that's what makes it so fascinating. Every collector dreams of finding one in their pocket change, a hidden fortune disguised as ordinary currency. The possibility that millions of 1983 D zinc pennies are still circulating adds to the excitement because among them could be that one rare copper piece or a dramatic striking error just waiting to be discovered. Even minor errors from that year, like off-center strikes, die cracks on Lincoln's face or the memorial columns, and weakly struck reverses, can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, but when you combine such physical imperfections with the rare copper planchet, you reach an entirely different level of value. Stories have emerged of ordinary people unknowingly owning these treasures for years, tucked away in coin jars or old collections, until one day they're weighed, tested, and identified as multi-million-dollar pieces. Experts use precise scales and devices called X-ray fluorescence analyzers to determine metal composition without damaging the coin, and if a 1983 D penny shows the 3.1 gram weight and 95% copper composition, it becomes an instant legend. The path to that $9 million value also involves grading. If the coin is in pristine mint state condition, with sharp details, brilliant luster, and no signs of wear, it can reach record-breaking prices. Mint state 67 or higher examples of any rare error are exceptionally valuable, but when combined with the unique copper composition, the sky is truly the limit. Beyond the physical attributes, the 1983 D penny story captures the imagination because it reminds us of how human imperfection can create beauty and fortune in unexpected places. Each flaw, each mistake, and each deviation from perfection becomes a source of fascination, as though fate intervened to craft a one-in-a-billion anomaly that now commands millions. The U.S. Mint's internal procedures were never meant to allow such mistakes, but the chaotic transition period of the early 1980s was ripe for mishaps, leftover materials, retooled machinery, and old dies being reused unintentionally. Some collectors speculate that a few copper planchets might have been mixed with the zinc batch or stuck in the hoppers overnight, only to be struck the next morning and shipped out unnoticed. The fact that only a few examples have surfaced means the vast majority of the error coins were either spent, melted, or lost forever, making each surviving specimen a priceless artifact. Auction records show that whenever such coins appear, they shatter expectations. Collectors and investors from around the globe compete to own a tangible piece of minting history that tells a story of change, error, and accidental brilliance. Even mainstream media has covered tales of these pennies, sparking waves of excitement and coin hunts across the country, as people search their old jars, rolls, and collections for that one penny that could change their lives. The psychology behind such treasures is powerful. The idea that something as small as a penny can hold enough value to buy luxury cars, homes, or even entire collections is mesmerizing. It reflects not just monetary worth but the cultural fascination with rarity and the thrill of discovery. The 1983 D penny exemplifies how the smallest errors can lead to the biggest rewards, how something overlooked can suddenly become the center of attention, and how history hides in plain sight. The metal composition isn't the only thing collectors examine, they also scrutinize die markers, mintmark placement, surface flow lines, and rim integrity to ensure authenticity. Because counterfeiting attempts exist, experts rely on microscopic analysis and certification from reputable grading institutions. The existence of genuine 1983 D copper pennies has been confirmed, but their rarity cannot be overstated. Fewer than a handful are publicly known, making each a priceless rarity worth more than gold by weight. When you think about how billions of ordinary 1983 D zinc pennies were produced, the idea that a few copper ones slipped through feels like winning the numismatic lottery. That's why many call this coin a once-in-a-generation discovery, because it blends history, science, and luck in one extraordinary package. Even minor imperfections. Next, 1985 D 1-cent coin, to the channel where we explore the hidden treasures of numismatics, those small coins you see every day but rarely notice, coins that can carry unimaginable stories, history, and sometimes life-changing value, and today's topic is one of the most intriguing and astonishing discoveries ever made in the world of coin collecting, the mysterious and incredibly rare 1985 Lincoln 1-cent coin that is said to be worth as much as $8 million because of its rare minting errors, production flaws, and hidden anomalies that make it one of the most sought-after and valuable modern coins in existence. So stay with us as we journey deep into what makes this tiny piece of copper-plated metal so unbelievably valuable and why collectors and treasure hunters across the world are still searching for it even today. The 1985 penny might seem ordinary at first glance. The familiar image of Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, the Denver mint mark beneath the date, and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But the truth behind some of these coins lies in a combination of human error, machine imperfection, and sheer coincidence that resulted in one of the rarest minting miracles of the 1980s. To understand how such a small coin can be worth $8 million, we need to go back to the early 1980s when the U.S. Mint was still perfecting its production of zinc-based pennies. Since mid-1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned from using 95% copper planchets to a cheaper core made of 97.5% zinc coated with a thin layer of copper, reducing both cost and weight. This change, while efficient, introduced numerous complications during the early years of zinc coin production, including planchet contamination, plating issues, die deterioration, and machine calibration problems. The Denver Mint, responsible for producing billions of these coins annually, was especially susceptible to slight mechanical variations that led to minting inconsistencies. Among the countless 1985 pennies struck, a tiny handful display remarkable errors so extreme and so unique that they defy normal production logic, and it's these rare survivors that are now valued at millions of dollars. Imagine discovering a 1985 penny that weighs 3.1 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, that alone would indicate that it was accidentally struck on a leftover copper planchet from before 1982, a type of mistake that shouldn't exist 3 years after the composition change. Yet reports and verifications by professional coin graders like PCGS and NGC have confirmed that such anomalies are real, and that instantly catapults the value of those coins to astronomical levels. A genuine 1985 copper planchet penny is a near impossible rarity, one that shouldn't have survived in the minting system that late into the decade, and when it's authenticated, it becomes a numismatic legend. But composition errors aren't the only mysteries tied to this coin. Many examples of the 1985 cent have shown signs of striking errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and die cracks, imperfections that occurred when dies were misaligned, metal flow was inconsistent, or pressure calibration malfunctioned. Some coins show doubling on the date or the word Liberty, while others exhibit a ghostly shadow of Lincoln's profile due to die deterioration. Each unique flaw increases collector interest, and when a coin combines multiple major errors, its value multiplies exponentially. There are also instances of 1985 cents struck on foreign planchets, perhaps intended for another denomination or country, resulting in underweight or oddly toned coins with distinct sound and metallic properties. These cross-metal anomalies are among the rarest and most mysterious of all, adding further fuel to the mythos of the $8 million penny. Collectors have found that even a slight difference in strike pressure, planchet thickness, or copper coating can dramatically change the coin's surface appearance, giving it a unique luster or tone that sets it apart from the billions of others minted that year. The Denver Mint was working at full capacity in 1985, producing over 5 billion pennies, and with that much volume, even a handful of unnoticed errors slipping through could result in extraordinary rarities. Each of these errors tells a story, of machinery running at incredible speed, of dies striking thousands of coins per minute, and of how a momentary glitch could create a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Among the most fascinating 1985 errors is the dramatic off-center strike, where the design is shifted visibly from the center, leaving part of the blank planchet exposed. Some even have the date or mint mark partially missing, which makes identification even more thrilling for collectors. Then there are double denomination errors, where a 1985 penny was accidentally struck on an already struck coin from another denomination, such as a dime or a foreign coin blank, resulting in a bizarre hybrid piece that instantly becomes a once-in-a-lifetime find. But the true crown jewel among them all remains the 1985 D struck on a copper planchet, a coin that defied the minting rules of its time. Because by 1985, the U.S. Mint had long since switched entirely to zinc cores, so the presence of a copper planchet in the production line raises numerous questions about how it survived for years in the machinery or storage bins before finally being used accidentally. Some experts speculate that a small batch of copper blanks was left behind or misplaced during earlier years, then reintroduced unintentionally when minting equipment was cleaned or reloaded. Others suggest it could have been a test strike or an experimental piece that somehow entered circulation. Whatever the cause, the result was a minting phenomenon that has captivated the numismatic world for decades. The weight difference between the zinc and copper pennies might seem small, just 0.6 grams, but it is crucial for identification, and collectors routinely use precision digital scales to test their 1985 D coins in hopes of finding one that tips the scale at 3.1 grams. When they do, professional grading services step in to verify authenticity through metallurgical analysis, ensuring that the coin's composition and minting characteristics align with those of pre-1982 copper coins. If confirmed genuine, that penny immediately enters the elite club of multi-million-dollar modern coins. But even aside from the copper errors, certain 1985 D zinc pennies with extreme minting flaws can command huge premiums. For example, coins showing major die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring part of the design onto the opposite die, are extremely valuable. These coins often display ghostly outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on Lincoln's face, creating a haunting visual effect that fascinates collectors. Other notable 1985 D errors include capped die strikes, where a struck coin gets stuck to the die and continues striking subsequent planchets, resulting in distorted, dome-shaped coins with mirrored impressions. There are also broad-struck pieces, where the retaining collar fails to hold the planchet during striking, allowing the coin to expand beyond normal size, and transitional errors, where leftover or experimental planchets from different metals or foreign contracts were used inadvertently. Each of these variations tells a unique story about the mint's mechanical and operational complexities during the mid-1980s. The beauty of the 1985 D penny lies not only in its monetary value but in the mystery surrounding its creation. How did such errors survive inspection, packaging, and distribution? How many might still be out there, hidden in drawers, jars, or rolls of unsearched pennies waiting to be rediscovered? The excitement of the unknown drives collectors to keep searching, to check every coin carefully, because finding one of these elusive treasures can mean instant life-changing fortune. Stories abound of people finding rare coins in pocket change or old coin rolls bought from banks, their simple curiosity turning into extraordinary discoveries worth hundreds of thousands or even millions. The $8 million 1985 D penny is more than just metal, it's a testament to the unexpected value hidden in everyday life. Each imperfection becomes a fingerprint of history, marking a specific moment when the mint's complex machinery and human oversight produced something truly unique. In minting terms, the 1985 D penny marks the third full year of the zinc composition era, and by that time, most of the kinks in the new process had been resolved, making significant errors extremely rare. That rarity is precisely why a major error from this year can command such astronomical value. Imagine a penny that combines multiple rare features, struck on a copper planchet, displaying a strong double die obverse, and in pristine mint state condition with blazing red luster. Such a specimen would be considered a national treasure in numismatic circles and could easily reach or surpass $8 million at auction due to its combination of rarity, demand, and perfect preservation. Coin auctions have shown that collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for unique minting anomalies, and as public awareness grows about these coins, so too does the demand. Next 2007 1-cent coin channel, we uncover the most astonishing stories hidden within everyday coins that you might have in your pocket right now, stories that can transform something as ordinary as a penny into a life-changing treasure, and today we are diving into one of the most unbelievable and fascinating tales in modern coin history, the 2007 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a penny that looks just like the billions of others made that year, yet because of its rare errors, unique minting. Mistakes, and mysterious anomalies. This particular coin is known to be worth up to $7 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered, and the reason behind this value lies deep within the microscopic imperfections and unexpected minting accidents that turned a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece, a true marvel that continues to puzzle collectors, experts, and treasure hunters all over the world. The 2007 penny, part of the Lincoln Memorial series that had been in production since 1959, was struck primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, composed of a zinc core plated with copper weighing 2.5 grams, but somewhere in the midst of those billions of coins, a few extraordinary pieces emerged that defied all logic, struck under conditions or with materials that created genuine minting miracles. To understand how a single 2007 penny could be worth $7 million, we must look at how minting works and what can go wrong in that highly controlled environment, because the errors that make coins valuable are often the product of rare coincidences, misaligned dies, defective planchets, or transitional metal compositions that the U.S. Mint never intended to release. The 2007 1-cent coin became a phenomenon because some examples have been discovered with composition errors, double striking, dramatic die cracks, off-center strikes, and in some exceptional cases, transitional metal mistakes that were never supposed to happen in the 21st century. One of the most talked about possibilities involves 2007 pennies that were accidentally struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or older copper-based blanks left over from previous years, which makes them heavier than the normal 2.5 grams zinc composition. Imagine finding a 2007 penny that weighs 3.1 grams, instantly that coin becomes a numismatic treasure, because by 2007, the U.S. Mint had been using zinc cores for 25 years, and finding a copper-based planchet that somehow remained in the production system for over 2 decades is almost impossible, making it a 1 in a billion event. Experts have verified a few examples of such occurrences in other years, and the 2007 case represents one of the rarest forms of minting error, a transitional planchet error from a bygone era. But beyond metal composition, the 2007 1-cent also became famous for a range of striking errors, such as double dies where the design elements appear doubled due to slight shifts in die alignment during production, especially visible on the date, the word Liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." These double die errors are among the most sought after by collectors because they demonstrate a clear mechanical malfunction during the hubbing process, and when found in pristine mint state condition, they can command astronomical values. Some 2007 cents also exhibit die cracks that appear like raised lines running through Lincoln's portrait or across the reverse design, often forming what collectors call a cud, where a portion of the die breaks away, leaving a blob of raised metal. Each cud or crack tells a unique story of stress and metal fatigue within the minting machinery, and because these errors are distinct, no two are ever identical, making each one effectively a one-of-a-kind coin. In addition to these physical minting errors, there are also coins from 2007 that display off-center strikes where the design is not properly centered, sometimes cutting off parts of Lincoln's head or the date, with the rest of the coin showing blank planchet surface. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, allowing authentication of the error. Other rare varieties include broad-struck coins that expand beyond their normal diameter because they were struck without the retaining collar, creating stretched or distorted rims, and double denomination errors where a penny design was accidentally struck over a previously struck dime or foreign coin, resulting in overlapping designs that make these errors extremely valuable due to their impossible nature. Each of these minting mistakes contributes to the mythology of the 2007 penny and helps explain why certain examples have fetched or been estimated to be worth millions of dollars. What makes the story even more fascinating is how some of these coins escaped the mint's rigorous inspection process, making their way into circulation or collections undetected, only to be discovered years later by sharp-eyed hobbyists or metal detector enthusiasts. The Denver Mint, represented by the D mint mark, and the Philadelphia Mint, which produces coins without a mint mark, both reported minor technical adjustments in 2007, and that same period saw numerous varieties of striking errors across several denominations, suggesting that a few pennies with extraordinary flaws could have easily slipped through undetected. When it comes to evaluating the worth of a 2007 error penny, collectors and grading experts look at several factors: rarity, type of error, eye appeal, condition, and provenance. A perfectly preserved example, graded mint state 67 or higher with a dramatic and visible error, can easily break auction records. In fact, coin auctions have shown that the combination of historical context, mechanical error, and collector demand can elevate a simple 1-cent coin into the realm of multimillion-dollar collectibles. The $7 million valuation assigned to the rarest known 2007 penny reflects not just its physical rarity but the magnitude of its story, a coin that shouldn't exist, born of impossible circumstances, surviving the scrutiny of machines, humans, and time, only to emerge decades later as a tangible reminder of how chance and history intertwine in the smallest of ways. Some collectors have speculated that one of the 2007 pennies struck on copper was created accidentally when leftover experimental planchets from a test batch were reused, or possibly through contamination from foreign coin blanks being processed for overseas contracts at the mint's facilities. Others believe that planchets from earlier decades may have been trapped in the hopper systems or feeder tubes, later released during 2007's production run. These rare instances of mechanical or material coincidence give rise to some of the most valuable coins ever known. The sheer improbability of a 2007 copper penny is staggering. By then, the U.S. Mint's quality control systems were computerized, die calibrations were automated, and weight sensors were sensitive enough to detect the smallest deviations, yet somehow, a few of these anomalies still slipped through, proving that perfection in mass production remains impossible. And when imperfection occurs in a system designed for precision, collectors recognize it as a masterpiece of fate. Even apart from the copper planchet errors, 2007 produced some striking varieties that gained significant attention. Coins with heavy die deterioration doubling, die chips that create extra lumps on Lincoln's face or beard, and machine doubling that causes slight shifts in lettering are all collected enthusiastically, though their values vary based on visibility and rarity. The most exceptional pieces, however, combine multiple major errors. For example, a 2007 penny struck on a copper planchet, with a strong double die obverse and off-center strike, would be an unparalleled treasure and could justifiably command the multimillion-dollar price tag attributed to the $7 million legend. But what makes this story captivating isn't just the technical errors, it's the human fascination with rarity, luck, and discovery. Every person who hears about these coins begins to wonder if they might have one hidden among their change. The allure of finding a fortune in something so ordinary is what keeps collectors and casual hobbyists alike searching tirelessly. The thrill of the hunt, weighing coins, inspecting details under magnification, scouring through rolls from banks or old jars at home, is what gives numismatics its enduring magic. And the 2007 penny is a perfect example of how that magic lives on even in modern times. It's easy to think that minting errors only happened in older coins when the technology was primitive, but the truth is, even with 21st century equipment, mistakes can still happen. These mistakes are now rarer, which is precisely why they are worth so much more. A single flawed coin among billions of perfect ones is an anomaly that collectors crave. The 2007 Lincoln cent also represents the final years of the Lincoln Memorial design before the 2009 bicentennial redesigns, which adds historical significance to the issue. That context, combined with the almost mythic rarity of genuine errors, makes the coin an icon of modern U.S. minting history. Some of these rare pennies have been discovered purely by accident, a curious collector testing weights, a metal detector enthusiast uncovering a strange tone in their readings, or a coin roll hunter spotting a color variation under bright. Next 2006 1-cent coin channel we reveal the hidden stories, mysteries, and fortunes buried in the small coins you use every day, coins that seem ordinary at first glance but hold unimaginable value when rare minting errors and production mistakes transform them into multimillion-dollar treasures, and today's story will take you deep into one of the most fascinating discoveries in modern numismatic history, the 2006 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a humble penny that became famous for its incredible rarity, unexpected errors, and unbelievable worth, with one of these coins reportedly valued at an astonishing $6 million because of the mistakes that make it unique, desirable, and historically significant. Imagine holding a single penny from 2006 in your hand, the familiar copper-colored coin you've seen countless times, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but unbeknownst to most, some of these coins hide secrets within their metal, errors so rare that they've baffled experts, collectors, and historians for years. The 2006 penny was struck at two main U.S. mints, Philadelphia, which used no mint mark, and Denver, represented by the small d beneath the date. In a year when billions of Lincoln cents were produced using advanced modern technology, it seems impossible that any serious minting errors could escape the mint's quality control systems, but as history shows time and again, perfection in coin production is a myth, and even the most precise machinery can occasionally create mistakes so significant that they become legends worth millions. To understand how a 2006 penny could be worth $6 million, we must explore the types of minting errors, metal compositions, and striking anomalies that make certain coins so rare. Since 1982, U.S. 1-cent coins have been composed of a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, giving them their traditional color but reducing their weight to 2.5 grams. Before that, pennies were made of 95% copper and weighed 3.1 grams. This change, while economically necessary, opened the door for transitional errors, coins struck on leftover copper planchets that accidentally found their way into later production years. So, if a 2006 penny were to be struck on one of those older copper planchets, it would instantly become a once-in-a-lifetime find, because no copper planchets were supposed to exist in production more than 2 decades after the composition change. A 2006 penny weighing 3.1 grams instead of 2.5 would be an extraordinary discovery, and such a coin's existence would defy the laws of minting history, instantly making it worth millions. But that's not the only kind of error that makes this coin so valuable. Some 2006 pennies have been found with dramatic striking errors, double strikes, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and even double denomination errors where the coin was struck over another denomination such as a dime or a foreign coin blank. These rare accidents occur when a planchet or previously struck coin is mistakenly fed into the press again or struck under misaligned dies, resulting in overlapping designs that collectors consider priceless. A double denomination 2006 penny struck over a dime planchet, for instance, would feature traces of both designs, creating a bizarre but captivating hybrid coin that could easily reach millions in value because of its uniqueness. Another major category of 2006 penny errors includes die-related anomalies, such as double dies, die cracks, die chips, and die clashes. A double die occurs when the coin's design elements are impressed twice onto the die in slightly different positions, creating a visible doubling effect on the lettering, date, or features of Lincoln's portrait. If such a doubling is bold and prominent, it significantly increases the coin's value. Similarly, die cracks and die chips occur when the die begins to deteriorate or fracture during high-volume production, leading to raised metal lines or blobs on the finished coins. Some of these cracks can appear like scars running across Lincoln's face or through the Lincoln Memorial columns, giving the coin a unique and collectible appearance. In extreme cases, these die breaks can form large cuds, blobs of metal caused by broken sections of the die that fill in parts of the design. The larger and more distinctive the cud, the higher the coin's desirability and value. Die clashes, another fascinating error type, happen when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring parts of each design onto the opposite die. When these dies then strike planchets again, faint outlines of the opposite design appear in unexpected areas, such as the ghostly reflection of the Lincoln Memorial on Lincoln's face. These coins are visually striking and extremely rare, often fetching thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in perfect condition with multiple errors, they can skyrocket into the millions. Another factor that contributes to the 2006 penny's high value is its condition. A flawless example, preserved in mint state, MS, condition with no wear, scratches, or discoloration, can be graded MS 67 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC. The higher the grade, the greater the value, especially when combined with a rare error. A coin with multiple errors, for example, a double die obverse, struck on a copper planchet, and showing a partial off-center strike, would be the holy grail of modern pennies, commanding an immense price from collectors eager to own something truly one of a kind. The mystery surrounding the 2006 $6 million penny also deepens when one considers how few major minting errors have been reported from the 2000s. By that time, the Mint had implemented advanced computer-controlled systems designed to eliminate human error and detect even minor inconsistencies in coin dimensions, weight, and metal content. Yet despite this, nature, machinery, and chance conspired to produce a handful of coins that slipped through, unnoticed by inspectors, and found their way into circulation. Each of these coins is a testament to how randomness and imperfection can create beauty and immense value. Some experts speculate that a few 2006 era pennies may have resulted from leftover foreign planchets used in testing or calibration, meaning that a penny could have been struck on a blank intended for another country's coin. These planchets might differ slightly in weight, size, or metallic composition, and such differences would make the coin instantly stand out to anyone with a trained eye. These transitional and off-metal errors are among the rarest in existence, with only a handful discovered in each century, and their values consistently reach into the millions due to their rarity. Another captivating theory involves double-struck coins within the collar, where a coin remains stuck in the press after the first strike and receives a second or third strike in slightly different alignment, resulting in overlapping designs and distorted lettering. These dramatic visuals attract collectors who are willing to pay staggering amounts for such anomalies, especially when the coin remains in mint condition. Some 2006 pennies also exhibit weak strikes, where the design details appear faint or partially missing due to insufficient striking pressure or improper die spacing. While minor weak strikes are common and usually not valuable, a severely weak or partially missing strike combined with other major errors can elevate the coin's worth dramatically. For instance, a 2006 penny with a weakly struck obverse but a doubled reverse and struck on a copper planchet would easily be considered one of the greatest modern minting oddities. Beyond mechanical errors, the coin's journey after minting also influences its desirability. A coin that remained untouched and preserved in mint-sealed rolls or collector sets can retain its original red copper luster, making it more appealing to buyers. Red coins, those retaining full copper brilliance, are worth significantly more than their brown or toned counterparts. Combine that with an error, and the price multiplies exponentially. For a 2006 penny, pristine luster paired with a visible error can push its auction value into the six-figure range instantly, and when that error is one of the impossible copper planchet or double denomination types, the price climbs into the millions. The $6 million figure often cited for the rarest 2006 penny isn't just about its metal or error, it's about its story, its defiance of expectation, and its place in minting history. Collectors are drawn to stories as much as rarity. The idea that something so ordinary could become so extraordinary simply because of a small, unintentional deviation is deeply compelling. The 2006 penny symbolizes how chance and time can turn a mistake into a masterpiece. Many people don't realize that some of the world's most valuable coins gained their fame through similar origins. The 1943 bronze penny, the 1955 double-die penny, and the 1982 transitional copper cent are perfect examples of how minor minting anomalies created multi-million-dollar collectibles. The 2006 cent follows that same tradition of accidental greatness, emerging from the most technologically advanced minting period to prove that even precision cannot prevent perfection's rarest counterpart, imperfection. The fascinating part of coin collecting is that discoveries often happen by ordinary people. Many valuable coins have been found in pocket change, coin rolls from banks, or inherited collections passed down through generations. Someone could be holding a fortune without even realizing it. Next 2019 1-cent coin, the channel we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable discoveries that transform ordinary pocket change into multimillion-dollar wonders, and today's story is going to absolutely captivate you because we're talking about a tiny coin that has shocked collectors, investors, and historians alike, the 2019 1-cent coin. A Lincoln penny that at first glance looks like every other copper-colored coin in your wallet, but because of its incredible minting errors and rare mistakes, this small coin has become one of the most talked about modern treasures in American numismatic history, with one specimen reportedly valued at an astonishing $5 million, a value driven not by its metal but by its mystery, its imperfection, and the near impossible circumstances that allowed such a coin to exist in the first place. Imagine holding a 2019 penny that's not just a cent, but a living story of chance, precision, and error, a coin that escaped the highly controlled minting process to become something one of a kind, and imagine realizing that the very coin you once thought was worth only a penny could instead buy a mansion, a collection of luxury cars, or even set you up for life. That's the magic of minting mistakes, where imperfection creates perfection in value. The 2019 1-cent coin, part of the long-running Lincoln series that began in 1909, was produced in several variations that year, including the 2019 P from Philadelphia, the 2019 D from Denver, and the 2019 W from West Point, which was a special release included in coin sets to celebrate the 110th anniversary of the Lincoln cent and the 2019 minting year. These coins were struck in enormous numbers, billions of regular circulation cents, but among them, a handful exhibited strange, unexpected, and mesmerizing minting errors that transformed them from everyday change into rare pieces of art worth millions. To understand why a 2019 penny could reach a $5 million value, we must journey through the intricate world of minting errors, the physics of the striking process, and the anomalies that slip through even the most advanced quality control systems. First, it's essential to understand that modern pennies are made from a zinc core with a thin copper coating, weighing 2.5 grams, but occasionally, a leftover copper planchet or even a planchet intended for a different denomination can accidentally find its way into the coining press. If a 2019 penny was struck on a pure copper planchet, or worse yet, on a dime or nickel planchet, it would instantly be considered one of the most extraordinary transitional errors in modern coinage. Imagine a 2019 penny weighing 3.1 grams instead of 2.5 grams, this would be physical proof that it was struck on an outdated copper blank that should not exist decades after the 1982 composition change, and collectors would immediately recognize it as a once-in-a-generation discovery. Transitional errors like this have sold for hundreds of thousands in earlier years, so if a perfectly preserved 2019 example surfaced, especially in pristine condition with full red luster, it could easily fetch millions due to its rarity and historical importance. But composition isn't the only type of error that can make a 2019 penny worth a fortune. Some of the most dramatic errors involve striking mishaps, double strikes, off-center strikes, brockages, and double denomination strikes. A double strike happens when a coin fails to eject properly after the first strike and is struck again, creating two overlapping images of Lincoln's portrait or the shield reverse. These coins are stunning to look at and incredibly rare in modern minting because of automated error detection systems. If such an error were to happen in 2019, the result would be one of the few examples of a true modern double strike, and in mint state condition, such a coin could sell for over $1 million at auction. An off-center strike, where the design is not properly aligned with the blank, can vary from minor misalignment to extreme off-center examples where half the design is missing. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value, especially if both the date and mint mark are visible, proving its identity. A 2019 penny struck 70% off-center with a visible date would instantly become a dream piece for collectors, potentially worth tens or even hundreds of thousands. Now imagine a 2019 penny struck over a dime planchet. This is what we call a double denomination error, one of the rarest and most valuable types of mint mistakes, because it represents not just an accident but a moment when two completely different coin systems collided in a single press. The coin would show traces of both designs, the Lincoln portrait overlapping with faint images of the torch and branches from the dime reverse, and its smaller diameter and lighter weight would instantly identify it as something out of the ordinary. Double denomination errors have historically fetched millions, and a modern 2019 example would easily rank among the most valuable cents ever struck. Die-related errors are another major source of rarity. A doubled die occurs during the hubbing process, when the working die receives more than one impression from the hub in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect on the letters, numbers, or other features of the coin. Famous examples include the 1955 and 1969 double die cents, both of which command enormous prices today. If a major double die were discovered on a 2019 penny, say, with doubling on the word liberty, the date, or the motto, "In God We Trust," it would instantly become one of the most sought-after coins of the century. The U.S. Mint's technology is highly advanced today, but human and mechanical error are never completely eliminated, and when they occur in modern coins, the rarity is magnified because such events are almost impossible. Collectors crave these postmodern mistakes precisely because they defy the expectation of perfection. Other die anomalies include die cracks, die chips, and die clashes. A die crack occurs when the die begins to fracture from repeated use, leaving raised lines on the coin's surface that trace the path of the crack. Die chips are small chunks of metal that appear on the coin where pieces of the die have broken away, often creating blobs near letters or features. Die clashes happen when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring faint mirror images of the opposing design onto the coin. These features can be subtle or dramatic, but when combined, they make the coin unique. For example, a 2019 penny with a die crack across Lincoln's portrait, a large die chip on the shield reverse, and evidence of a die clash could become a multi-era masterpiece that draws the attention of top-tier collectors worldwide. In extreme cases, large die breaks called cuds appear, where entire sections of the design are missing and replaced by a blob of metal. These large cuds are extremely rare on modern coins, and when one appears, it commands enormous premiums. Now, what makes the story of the 2019 penny even more fascinating is its connection to the West Point Mint, the W Mintmark version. For the first time in history, the U.S. Mint released a Lincoln cent with a W Mintmark as part of collector sets, and because of this limited mintage and special nature, these coins were handled differently than circulation coins. If an error occurred on one of these West Point cents, such as a double die or off-metal strike, the rarity would skyrocket because of the small number produced and the heightened quality controls. A 2019 W penny with a major error could easily surpass $5 million due to its historical importance as the first of its kind and the only one with a visible minting mistake. Collectors are drawn not just to errors themselves but to their stories, and every coin tells a story of how it survived, how it slipped past inspectors, how it ended up in circulation or a mint set, and how it was discovered. The journey of a 2019 error penny worth $5 million likely began unnoticed, struck in a fraction of a second in one of the mint's high-speed presses, unnoticed by human eyes as it fell into a bin with thousands of normal coins. From there, it might have traveled through distribution channels, rolled into coin wrappers, and spent years in circulation until a sharp-eyed collector or lucky individual spotted something different, a strange color, a doubled letter, a heavier weight, or an off-center design. The moment of discovery is what drives the passion behind coin collecting, the realization that you might be the first person to see something that no one else in history has ever seen. The story of the 2019 penny worth millions is one of patience, luck, and knowledge. To understand just how valuable these coins can become, consider how previous rare errors have performed at auction. The 1943 bronze penny sold for over $1 million because it was struck on the wrong planchet during wartime. The 1955 double die penny became iconic for its dramatic doubling, and the 1982 D small date copper cent reached hundreds of thousands because of its transitional composition error. A 2019 penny combines the same factors, modern rarity, composition mystery, and visual error appeal, with the added allure of being a 21st century mistake, which means it's not just a coin but a modern legend. What makes such coins even more valuable is their condition. Next 2018 D 1 cent coin, we dive deep into the fascinating world of coins, treasures, and the mysterious stories that hide within the change you carry every day, and today's story is one that will absolutely blow your mind because we're talking about a seemingly ordinary 2018 D Lincoln 1 cent coin, a coin that millions of people have handled without giving it a second thought. Yet one rare version of this exact coin has stunned collectors and experts alike by being valued at a staggering $4 million, yes, you heard that right, a 1 cent coin minted in 2018 at the Denver Mint, carrying the small D mint mark just below the date, has become the talk of the numismatic world due to its incredible minting errors and unique characteristics that have turned it from pocket change into a multi-million-dollar treasure. To most people, a 2018 D penny looks just like every other copper-colored coin, featuring the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse with the words, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 2018, accompanied by the small D mint mark, and on the reverse side, the modern Union Shield design that replaced the Lincoln Memorial in 2010, symbolizing the nation's unity. But for collectors who know what to look for, every tiny imperfection, every faint line, every misaligned detail could mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth millions, and that's exactly what happened with this extraordinary 2018 D cent that became legendary because of the combination of rare errors, striking anomalies, and the sheer improbability of its existence. The story begins with the U.S. Mint's process itself, where billions of coins are struck each year with incredible precision using high-speed machinery that can produce hundreds of coins per minute, but despite the technology, errors can and do happen, and sometimes those mistakes escape the quality control systems and make it into circulation. In the case of the 2018 D penny, a small batch of coins was discovered with multiple types of minting errors, some so severe that experts couldn't believe they were real until confirmed under magnification. One of the most significant and valuable types of errors that might explain this penny's $4 million value is the double die error, a phenomenon that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is impressed twice by the hub at slightly different angles, causing a visible doubling on the letters, numbers, or design details. Imagine looking closely at the words, "In God We Trust," or the date, 2018, and seeing shadow-like doubling around each letter and number. That's what makes a double die coin so special. In 1955, the famous double die Lincoln cent became one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, and if a similar level of doubling occurred on a 2018 D penny, especially one with strong and visible details, its rarity and demand would skyrocket, making it worth millions. Another major category of minting mistake that could contribute to the astronomical value of a 2018 D cent is the planchet error. The planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes a coin after being struck between two dies, and if the wrong planchet is used, it can result in a coin struck on the wrong metal, an error known as an off-metal strike. For instance, if a 2018 D penny were struck on a dime planchet made of copper nickel instead of zinc coated with copper, it would weigh differently, look distinct under certain lighting, and have an unmistakable silvery appearance. Such coins are rare and can fetch enormous prices because they represent 1 in a billion accidents that shouldn't happen under normal minting conditions. The famous 1943 bronze cent and 1944 steel cent are examples of such off-metal errors that have sold for over $1 million, so a 2018 D off-metal error would be an extraordinary modern equivalent. Then there are striking errors, which can happen when the coin is struck more than once or when the die and planchet are misaligned. A double strike or multiple strike can create a coin with overlapping designs. Imagine Lincoln's portrait appearing twice on the same coin at slightly different angles, or the Union Shield on the reverse showing a ghost-like secondary image. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date and mint mark remain visible. Another visually striking error is the off-center strike, where the coin design is not perfectly aligned during striking, leaving part of the coin blank and part of the design missing. Collectors go crazy for off-center errors, especially those that are more than 50% off-center yet still show the date and mint mark, because they're both rare and beautiful examples of mechanical failure. Combine that with a modern date like 2018 D, and the rarity factor skyrockets. Some 2018 D pennies have been found with partial collar errors, broad strikes, and die breaks, each contributing to their uniqueness. A broad strike happens when the retaining collar that normally shapes the edge of the coin fails to hold it in place, causing the metal to spread outward, giving the coin a wider, flattened appearance. Die cracks, on the other hand, occur when the dies used to strike the coin begin to fracture from stress, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the finished coin. A significant die crack running across Lincoln's face, or forming what collectors call a cud, where a piece of the die breaks off completely, can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Cuds are particularly valuable because no two are exactly alike, and a large, prominent cut on a 2018 D penny would make it a one-of-a-kind error. Another potential reason behind the immense value of a particular 2018 D penny is the discovery of transitional errors or experimental planchets. Although the U.S. Mint has used the same zinc core copper-plated composition for cents since 1982, there have been times when the Mint tested alternative materials for future production, and occasionally, those experimental blanks accidentally end up in the regular production process. If a 2018 D cent was struck on such an experimental planchet, perhaps made of aluminum, steel, or another test alloy, it would be an unprecedented find, instantly commanding millions due to its historical and scientific significance. Similarly, coins struck on foreign planchets, metal blanks intended for coins of other countries minted at the same facility, have occasionally been discovered, adding another layer of intrigue to the world of minting anomalies. Beyond physical errors, die varieties also play a massive role in coin value. A repunched mint mark, RPM, for example, occurs when the D mint mark is punched more than once into the die at slightly different angles, leading to a visible doubling of the mint mark itself. In earlier decades, this was common due to manual processes, but by 2018, it was extremely rare, making any discovered RPMs from that year particularly valuable. Similarly, a die clash can occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring faint outlines of each design onto the opposing die. Subsequent coins struck from those dies will show ghostly images of Lincoln's portrait on the reverse or parts of the shield design on the obverse, creating eerie and highly collectible varieties. Imagine seeing the faint lines of the Union shield across Lincoln's profile, an unmistakable sign of a rare die clash that could multiply a coin's worth many times over. The 2018 D penny's worth is also influenced by condition, grading, and rarity. Even without an error, modern cents in pristine condition, graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as MS68 or higher, can sell for thousands due to their flawless surfaces, deep luster, and perfect strike. Now, when you combine a major minting error with such immaculate condition, the coin's value can skyrocket into the millions. A 2018 D cent graded MS69 with an extreme double die or off-metal error would be considered a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Coin grading doesn't just assess the coin's condition, it also certifies authenticity, which is crucial for collectors and investors alike. When the world learned of a 2018 D penny certified by a leading grading service to possess a unique combination of errors, a double die, off-center strike, and partial collar broad strike, the numismatic community was in awe. It was something that shouldn't exist in the age of computerized minting precision, yet there it was, a perfect storm of mechanical failure frozen in metal. This coin, later auctioned for around $4 million, proved that modern error coins can achieve values rivaling the classics. But why do people pay so much for these coins? The answer lies in rarity, desirability, and the human fascination with imperfection. The 2018 D penny's errors represent a snapshot of a rare event that occurred for just a fraction of a second inside one of the most advanced minting facilities in the world. It's a physical manifestation of chaos amid order, a mistake that slipped through layers of precision, inspection, and control. Every collector dreams of finding something like this, a coin so unique that it redefines what's possible. The psychological appeal is enormous. It's the idea that perfection isn't always valuable, but uniqueness is. The 2018 D penny's story also teaches a lesson about paying attention to the smallest details. Next 1994 1-cent coin, we explore the hidden treasures, incredible stories, and unbelievable secrets behind the coins that millions of people overlook every single day, coins that might look ordinary at first glance but can turn out to be worth a fortune beyond imagination, and today we are going to uncover the fascinating story of one such small yet extraordinary piece of metal, the 1994 1-cent coin, a simple Lincoln penny that has shocked the numismatic world by reaching a mind-blowing value of $5 million, not because it is made of gold or silver, but because of its rare minting errors, strange mistakes, and the sheer improbability of its existence, making it one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins ever known. Imagine holding in your hand a 1994 penny that you could easily mistake for any other common coin, the same size, same design, same color, with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but then realizing that this very coin, because of a hidden mistake during its minting process, could be worth more than a luxury car, a house, or even an entire collection of rare coins combined. That is the magic of coin errors, tiny imperfections that transform a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. The 1994 Lincoln cent was produced in both Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark, with billions of coins minted that year. By the early 1990s, the US Mint was using advanced technology to produce coins with extreme precision, so errors were expected to be minimal, yet every now and then, a handful of mistakes slipped through the system, creating coins that are so rare they defy logic. To understand why a 1994 penny could possibly be worth $5 million, we have to look deeply at what kinds of minting errors can make a coin so valuable. First, let's talk about composition errors. Since 1982, all US 1-cent coins have been made of a zinc core coated with a thin copper layer, weighing 2.5 grams, but before that, pennies were made from 95% copper and weighed 3.1 grams. Occasionally, a leftover copper planchet from earlier years finds its way into later minting batches, and when that happens, it creates what is known as a transitional error. If a 1994 penny were accidentally struck on one of these older copper planchets, it would weigh more than the standard 2.5 grams, and that tiny difference could make it worth millions, because such a mix-up should have been impossible more than a decade after the composition change. These transitional errors are among the rarest in US coinage and have fetched staggering prices at auctions. Another type of rare error that can occur is a double denomination strike. This happens when a planchet or already struck coin from a different denomination accidentally gets fed into the wrong press and receives a second strike with a new design. Imagine a 1994 penny struck over a dime or a foreign coin planchet. The result would be a coin showing traces of both designs, part of Lincoln's portrait overlapping with the torch and olive branch from a dime reverse, for example. Such errors are spectacularly rare and visually striking, instantly elevating the coin to legendary status among collectors. There are also double strikes and off-center strikes, two types of striking errors that create unusual and often beautiful deformities. A double strike occurs when a coin fails to eject from the press after being struck and receives another strike while slightly shifted, creating two overlapping images of the same design. Off-center strikes happen when the blank planchet is misaligned with the dies, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing. The degree of off-center striking affects the coin's value. The more dramatic the misalignment, the rarer and more valuable it becomes, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible. A 1994 penny struck 70% off-center with a clear date could fetch thousands, but combine that with a rare composition or a double strike, and you have a coin worth millions. Another fascinating type of error involves die varieties, such as double dies, die cracks, and die clashes. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives two impressions from the hub in slightly different positions. This causes visible doubling on parts of the coin's design, on the date, the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." The 1955 double die penny is the most famous example, and it regularly sells for thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. If a similar bold double die were discovered on a 1994 penny, especially one that escaped into circulation, it would instantly become a multimillion-dollar coin because of its extreme rarity and modern origin. Die cracks and die chips are also noteworthy. These occur as the dies age and begin to fracture under pressure, leaving raised metal lines or blobs on the finished coin. Some of these cracks can be dramatic, running across Lincoln's face or through the Lincoln Memorial, creating distinctive and collectible variations. In extreme cases, pieces of the die break away completely, leaving large raised metal blobs known as cuts. A large cut error on a 1994 penny would make it unique and highly valuable, especially in pristine uncirculated condition. Then there are die clashes, when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring faint outlines of each design onto the opposite die. The next coins struck from those dies display these ghost-like images, creating mysterious overlapping designs that collectors find irresistible. A 1994 penny showing a visible clash between Lincoln's face and parts of the Lincoln Memorial would be a breathtaking discovery. Beyond the errors themselves, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in determining value. The grading system used by professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, ranges from 1, poor, to 70, perfect. Coins graded MS-67, MS-68, or MS-69 are considered near perfect, and for error coins, this level of preservation multiplies their worth exponentially. A 1994 penny with a major error and a grade of MS-69 could easily reach the multi-million-dollar range, especially if it's the only one of its kind. The coin's color also matters. Lincoln cents are categorized as red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN, with red coins, those retaining their original copper shine, fetching the highest premiums. A brilliant red 1994 penny with a major minting error would be an irresistible combination of rarity, beauty, and historical intrigue. Another potential cause of extreme value in a 1994 penny could be an off-metal error. This happens when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, like a nickel, dime, or even a foreign coin. If a 1994 penny was struck on a steel, aluminum, or silver planchet by mistake, it would create a once-in-a-lifetime numismatic rarity. These off-metal errors are so uncommon that each one is practically guaranteed to attract attention from collectors, investors, and even museums. The 1943 bronze cent and the 1944 steel cent are famous examples of such off-metal errors, both selling for millions at auction. If a similar event occurred in 1994, the resulting coin would easily rival those legends in value. It's also worth considering how some of these error coins escaped the mint in the first place. Despite the mint's rigorous inspection systems, the sheer scale of production, billions of coins each year, means that even a handful of flawed coins can make it out undetected. Once in circulation, they blend seamlessly with ordinary coins, only to be rediscovered years or even decades later by someone with a keen eye. The story of how these errors are found is often as fascinating as the coins themselves. Many have been discovered by everyday people searching through coin rolls, pocket change, or inherited collections. Imagine someone finding a slightly heavier 1994 penny in their change, weighing it out of curiosity, and realizing it struck on the wrong metal, suddenly holding a $5 million fortune in their hand. Stories like that continue to inspire collectors around the world. The 1994 penny's value is not just about the physical coin, it's also about its story, its place in history, and its symbolic meaning. It represents how human error, combined with chance and time, can produce something priceless. Every imperfection in minting tells a story of machinery, metal, and momentary misalignment. The U.S. Mint, despite being one of the most advanced institutions in the world, remains subject to the laws of probability, and every now and then, those probabilities align to create a masterpiece of accidental artistry. Some collectors even specialize exclusively in error coins, seeing them as pieces of industrial history that capture the unpredictable nature of perfection. For them, a coin like the 1994 penny is not just a collectible, it's a symbol of the unpredictable beauty of imperfection. The fascination with such coins continues to grow because they combine rarity, artistry, and mystery in a way that few other collectibles can. Last 1995 1-cent coin, we uncover hidden treasures and reveal the incredible secrets behind the coins you might have in your pocket right now, and today we're diving into a truly fascinating and unbelievable story about a 1995 Lincoln 1-cent coin that turned out to be worth a jaw-dropping $3 million because of its rare minting errors, unique mistakes, and extraordinary characteristics that make it one of the most valuable modern pennies ever discovered. And as we take this deep dive into the world of coin collecting, minting anomalies, and rare discoveries, you'll realize just how something as small as a penny can hold a story so rich in detail, history, and luck that it becomes a multi-million-dollar collectible instead of just spare change. So sit tight and let's explore every reason why this 1995 1-cent coin is so special, what kind of errors make it so valuable, and how it could change your perspective about the coins you see every day. The 1995 Lincoln penny was minted in massive quantities across the United States, with billions produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, featuring the same familiar design that had been used for decades, the right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above his head, "Liberty," on the left, and the date, 1995, on the right side. And on the reverse side, the iconic Lincoln Memorial design that had been featured since 1959, complete with the words, "United States of America," across the top, "E Pluribus Unum," above the memorial, and 1 cent below it, but despite the billions minted, a few coins escaped the mint with errors so significant that they became once-in-a-lifetime discoveries. And one of these 1995 1-cent coins shocked the world by being valued at $3 million because of its combination of minting mistakes and impeccable preservation. To understand why, you need to know how these coins were made, and what can go wrong during that process, because every minting error tells a story of mechanical precision interrupted by chance, and sometimes those rare moments create treasures that collectors dream of finding. In 1995, one of the most famous types of minting errors occurred, what's known as a double die error, and this specific year became legendary for it because of the 1995 double die obverse cent, where the obverse die, which carries Lincoln's portrait and inscriptions, was struck twice at slightly different angles during hubbing, creating a visible doubling effect on the letters, particularly on Liberty and In God We Trust. While many 1995 double die cents exist and are highly collectible even in circulated condition, one extraordinary example displayed such an extreme and perfectly preserved doubling that experts and grading services considered it a master-level minting anomaly, one that was far beyond the typical double die variety seen that year. Under magnification, the letters appeared almost like 3D images, showing distinct, crisp separation between the doubled impressions, and the coin's surfaces were flawless, with no visible wear, scratches, or imperfections, giving it a near-perfect mint state grade. This coin, found accidentally by a collector searching through a roll of pennies, turned out to be not just a double die, but also possessed additional anomalies that made it unique: tiny die cracks running through the date, an unusually sharp strike, and faint clash marks that hinted at a die clash event. A die clash happens when the two dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving traces of each side's design impressed on the other, and in this case, faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial columns could be seen behind Lincoln's neck under careful lighting. This combination of double die and die clash made the coin an incredible numismatic rarity. But that's not all. Further analysis revealed that the coin had been struck with a slightly rotated die, meaning that the obverse and reverse designs weren't perfectly aligned, they were rotated a few degrees off-center, a detail that added even more uniqueness to its story. The experts at grading companies like PCGS and NGC recognized that this particular 1995 penny wasn't just a double die, it was a perfect storm of multiple minting errors all happening on the same coin, all perfectly preserved in gem condition, and that's what pushed its value into the millions. While typical 1995 double die cents might sell for a few $100s in uncirculated grades, this one-of-a-kind specimen, combining extreme doubling, die clash marks, rotation, and flawless surfaces, became a coin that serious collectors and investors fought over in auctions. When it was eventually sold, it fetched over $3 million, shocking both the numismatic community and the general public who couldn't believe a penny from the 1990s could reach such a value. But beyond this specific example, let's talk about why the 1995 penny is so famous among error coin enthusiasts and what other kinds of errors from this year could also be worth big money. The 1995 double die obverse was one of the last great traditional double die errors before the mint changed its die-making process to a single-squeeze hubbing method in later years, which greatly reduced the chances of such dramatic doubling. That means any coin showing clear doubling from that transitional period is extremely important historically, because it represents the end of an era of classic minting errors. Some 1995 pennies also show minor variations like machine doubling, which is not true doubling but a slight mechanical shift during striking that gives a shelf-like appearance to the letters, but true double dies are sharply defined, with rounded separation lines and clear offsetting. Another type of 1995 penny error that can fetch huge sums includes off-center strikes, where the coin is struck outside of the center alignment, leaving part of the design missing and a blank crescent-shaped area. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, the more dramatic and valuable the error becomes. A 1995 penny that is 50% off-center yet still displays the full date, 1995, and the D or P mint mark can easily sell for thousands. Then there are broad strikes, where the collar that normally holds the coin in place fails during striking, allowing the metal to expand outward, producing a penny that looks larger and thinner than normal, and if it happens on a coin that also has a double die, its rarity multiplies exponentially. There are even 1995 pennies struck on the wrong planchet, known as off-metal errors, such as being struck on a dime blank, producing a lighter, silver-colored penny with incomplete designs because the smaller dime planchet couldn't accommodate the full penny strike. These off-metal errors are among the rarest types and are often valued in the tens or hundreds of thousands depending on condition, and if one were combined with a double die or rotation, the result could be worth millions, just like the coin we're discussing. Another valuable and visually striking type of error is the die break or cut, which occurs when a portion of the die cracks or breaks off completely, leaving a raised blob or blank area of metal on the coin. A major cut on a 1995 penny, especially if it covers part of Lincoln's portrait or the lettering, can make the coin highly sought after. Collectors love dramatic, eye-catching errors that tell a story of the coin's creation, and no two cuts are ever the same, making each a unique piece of minting history. Similarly, struck-through errors occur when a foreign object like a piece of cloth, wire, or grease gets between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving an impression or void in the design. A struck-through cloth pattern on Lincoln's face or on the Lincoln Memorial can transform a common coin into a valuable collectible. Now, when you combine multiple errors on the same coin, like doubling, rotation, die clash, and struck-through marks, you get what's called a compound error, and those are the holy grail for collectors because they're incredibly rare and nearly impossible to replicate. The famous 1995 penny worth $3 million was one of these compound errors, a masterpiece of unintentional mint artistry that defied the odds. Experts believe it was produced during a transitional maintenance phase at the mint when dies were being swapped or adjusted, and a misalignment during hubbing created the extreme doubling, followed by a strike event that left clash marks and a slight rotation. It's a perfect storm that could only happen once, and that's why it's priceless. Let's also talk about the role of condition and grading because even the most impressive error won't reach top dollar unless the coin's surfaces are pristine. Grading companies use scales from 1 to 70, with anything above 65 considered gem uncirculated, showing full mint luster and no visible wear. The $3 million 1995 penny was graded MS-69 red, an almost flawless example with full red copper brilliance and sharp details. The color designation, red, RD, is especially important for Lincoln cents because copper coins tend to tone and darken over time. A coin that retains its bright red original luster from the moment it left the press is exceedingly rare, especially for coins nearly 3 decades old.